All right, you guys. Welcome back to the Iconic Life podcast. This is where we gather around the virtual tables for real, soulful conversations about what it means to live lives of calling, of wealth, of joy, and purpose. I'm your host, Hannah Elsey, the founder of Agora Wellness, the creator of the Iconicity movement. I call myself a transformation midwife, an overflow activator, and a movement builder of a community of visionary women and men who are choosing to lead and live lives they are wildly in love with. Here we don't do that surface level chatter. We go deep, we talk about truth and the kind of stories that remind us that we are limitless when we are walking in our divine purpose and identity. When I'm saying living iconically, here's what I mean by that. It's remembering who we were created to be and choosing to live from that place fully and unapologetically. It's saying yes to your divine calling, even when it's messy, chaotic, stretchy, and building wealth, legacy, and joy from a place of overflow. It's leading movements, raising families, and co creating a life that feels like art. Because living iconically means you aren't chasing a dream, you are the dream. And today we get to dive into that with one of my dear friends, a special guest today, Emily. Welcome. I'm so glad
Yeah,
you're here today. Yay.
thank you so much for having me. Like I said before we hit recording, always a treat to share space with you.
Same
And
here.
what a powerful intention for this podcast.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Emily, you and I have kind of connected in multiple ways. And I know I don't believe any such thing as coincidence. So I love how we have just continued to like mingle and intermingle throughout the time, both online and in person in multiple different spaces. And it's been very special to be in your presence every time. So I love it. I'm so glad that you're here today to share some of your beauty and your magic with our community today. So thank you again for coming. So I don't really do like formal introductions. So I'm going to take a minute here just to give you the stage. I want you to introduce yourself a little bit to our community here and who you are, what you're doing in the world. And yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So excited to be here. My name is Emily Nachazel. Nice to meet you in your earbuds, in your YouTube, in your Instagram, wherever this conversation is coming to you. I am a feminine leadership coach, a business coach, and a mother. And I'm the founder of the Mother Mind Leadership Training, which is a first of its kind matriarchal leadership training rooted not just in strategy, but also in somatics. I've been in the business entrepreneur space for online space, offline space for over a decade and have worn a lot of different hats that have gotten me here. Maybe we'll talk about that, but my passion, my purpose is helping women bring their medicine to the world in a bigger and fully aligned way because I'm a mother, Hannah's a mother. I work with a lot of moms to be, or folks who have something else very full in their personal life, like they're caretaking for a parent, they have a chronic illness diagnosis, just full personal lives, but also really big dreams for their work, for their companies, for their businesses, and for their medicine. And so through strategy, through somatics, through energetic work, lots of different tools in my tool in my tool belt, we bring your medicine to the world in a bigger way. And I believe this is how we change the world. I don't think
Mm,
anyone will argue with me when I say that we have changes that need to be made to our world that we need to see, not just in our families, but on our leadership level, like all the way from the ground up. And
mhm,
I don't believe that I have all the answers, but I do believe that each of us has a unique key. That's what I call your medicine. It's your gifts, it's your power, but it's also like the shadow or the challenges, the inheritances that you've brought that put you in this beautiful place to offer something really, really unique that does the world good. And so my job, it's funny, you call yourself a transformation midwife. I used to call myself like a business doula, but that's really what my job is. It's like helping you get your voice, get your message, get your vision, get your work out into the world in a bigger way that also serves you as a human, as a mother.
I love that. Yeah, because I mean, I am a midwife in my day job
Right.
and in my work, right? Because, but I love that word because midwife means with woman, right? And
Mhm.
there's so much power in being witnessed, and I call it witness, right? It's like walking alongside someone. Like we can go so far when we are supported and together, and like that is such a passion of my work, and I know that is yours as well, right? Because like the old way of doing things on our own, the whole self-made whatever, that's not what this is about anymore. We are made for community and made for support and being resourcefully. And that's how I call it bringing out your magic, or like you said, your power, right? That is how we do these things, this work that we are called to do. So I love that
I
that is
love
what
that
you're
you
doing.
brought that. Yeah, I love that you brought that up about self-made because I've actually been thinking about that a lot recently. And I talk a lot about, a lot of women come in to work with me when they're more existing. Maybe they have a team, maybe they have people that help them in their business or in their lives, but they're still lone wolfing it, still very much carrying the burden,
Mm,
carrying the mental load, and carrying energetically their companies and oftentimes their families too. And so a lot of the work that we do is, yes, strategically getting you the right people in the right places, but also training your system, your body to step back from this super mom, from this mom boss archetype, from this lone wolf, independent woman that many of us have been taught that was like the ideal, right? Like you can
mhm.
do it all alone.
Yeah.
But to unweave those patterns out of the body because the people who say I mean, it's really beautiful if you're a self-made millionaire, especially if you come from a lineage where that is like such not the norm. But when I become a millionaire, I will not be a self-made millionaire. I've had
Yeah.
so much support along the way,
Yeah.
not just from like family and people cheering me on to mentors, to communities. So I'm so with you of power to the individual, but also we are in a time where we desperately need to relearn, remember being in community,
Mm.
being in partnership, and that none of our success is just ours.
Alone. Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you on that. And yes, there is I understand the sentiment behind saying I'm a self-made, et cetera, et cetera. Because it does require a lot of us, I'm not gonna lie, right? You are a leader in that, but we're never doing it alone, no matter how you do it. There's always some kind of support. And I am such a believer in the this and life, not the either or anymore, right? Like it used to be like you could be a career woman or you could be a mom or like a businesswoman or like no, like we can do both and we can do it beautifully and we can do it resourced and supported. And that is what I am here for. So
Yeah,
I love
totally
it.
same.
All right. So I want to go a little bit back to what got you into this, what brought you to this kind of work and this passion of yours. So take us back maybe to a moment when you first realized that this was a different way of doing things, that you were choosing a different path, that you weren't going to maybe continue on those old paradigms that we were talking about, like that kind of stuff, that you're going to choose this calling that you've been given. What was going on in your life at that time? What brought you to this? What was like the moment that shifted inside you that said, this is a path I'm going to choose and this is where I'm going to walk?
Yeah. There's a couple key moments, so we'll we'll go through this one at a time. First, y'all should know I have a background in business. So before I owned a business, I went to one of the top business schools in the country. I worked for a big four public accounting firm. I followed the straight and narrow path. I didn't really know what I was passionate about. I was good at a lot of things. I was smart. And so I went to business school and got a job at a big four public accounting firm, rose through the ranks there, was a high performer. But there was this whisper that started to come up a few years into that career and on the verge of being promoted, getting promoted to a next level where I would have more responsibility. And that whisper said, there's something more for you.
Hmm.
There's something more for you. And so I started to listen to that whisper. This was, probably 15 years ago at this point. So this was before like so much of the online space had blown up. Like Instagram was really just selfies and pictures of random things in your life with like those old filters. It was just a
Yes.
different, it was wild, wild west.
Mm.
So long story short, I listened to that ping. I signed up for a yoga teacher training. I eventually signed up for a health coaching certification through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And I began to listen to my intuition, which this was like my first real introduction to, oh, not just following the smart path or the path that someone's laid out for you or a good path. It was like, no, there's this compass inside of me that's guiding me. It doesn't necessarily make sense to leave a career that is built, that you're successful in, but I need to listen to this.
Yeah.
So eventually I left that corporate job. I started my business and I was helping people with health, energy, gut health, but very quickly was also talking to folks about their careers because, funny story, if you hate your job or you're really unhappy in your work or it doesn't feel like it's serving you, you're a mom, you have this creative side, you have this emotional
Mm.
side, it's going to impact your health. So I've been talking with careers and talking career and purpose and helping folks find their way, like find their way with their work, a way that met them financially, but also soulfully,
Mm.
also creatively. So my business shifted into really focusing on that, helping people step into their purpose, helping people launch purpose-led businesses. And that was great. I was helping a lot of people. I was really happy doing it, weaving in tools like astrology, human design, tarot, um, ritual. And as I was doing this, I was crafting. I went to business school, but what I learned in business school wasn't how to run a business. And it definitely wasn't how to run a business as a woman, as someone who bled every month, who had cyclical energy, who was deeply passionate and emotional and sensitive. And so I started to learn these tools from different teachers, from books that I brought into business on how to lead a business as a woman, as a cyclical being, as someone who is deeply sensitive.
That
Fast
is
forward.
so powerful. I'm sorry, you just lit me up all over the place. I was like, yes, yes, yes. It's
Oh,
not what we're taught, right? It's not what we're taught.
it's not what we're taught. Totally. And then I had my son. And I started my business, yes, because I wanted to help people, of course, but really it was about me. How can I shape a life that is supportive for me? How can I do work that lights me up? How can I have freedom?
Mm.
And that's fine. If that's where you're at, that's awesome. That's like one stage of matriarchal leadership, of leading and mothering in a whole new way. But when I had my son, all of the sudden it was like something shifted because it wasn't just about me anymore. You know this, right?
Yeah.
Like it
Oh, yeah.
wasn't just about me. I was carrying a family. I was leading a family. And I needed to see how my work was so much bigger than me. One, because it became even more important that I was obsessed with what I was doing, that I could see how it was making the change that I wish to see in the world if I'm going to take time away from my little baby. And it was about more than me, right? Like when you become a mother, there you start to think about legacy in a bigger way, in a more tangible way. And so that was when things really shifted for me and I felt that my business needed to be more than me. It needed to be bigger.
Mm.
And that has been, my son is now 3.5. There's another initiation that came when my daughter came around, which is this most recent paradigm. Because in this portal of like, okay, I want my business to be bigger. I really want to see, I'm just going to shift this for a moment
The sun's
so we
coming.
can actually see each other. Okay, so so much better.
I can see you again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so beautiful out there. The sun is shining. Like, I love it. But yeah, I can see it now.
Yes. So at the same time, I was like, okay, my business needs to be bigger. I want it to be bigger. I want to have more of an impact. I want to make more money. And I also was hearing these whispers of like, I don't know if business coach resonates. That's what I had been calling
Mm,
myself for most of this like second act of my
gotcha.
company, the second act. And I heard a second whisper. This was after like a deep meditation, um, some ritual, I think on a retreat with soul sisters and being held really beautiful in community. And the whisper was, you're not here to birth businesses. Like I said, I used to use the term like yeah, I was a doula
Just a
for
little.
your soul business. You're not here to birth businesses. You're here to birth leaders. And the last year or so has been because this is also what I've been doing all along. I have not been helping women just bring their businesses into the world. I've been helping them train a new way of leadership into their bodies, into the strategy of the business, into how they're setting up their contracts, into how they're structuring their offers, but a new way of showing up, which is what I call matriarchal leadership. It is a feminine leadership model that we really don't see in our day and age. We definitely don't see on the main stage. And it's deeply, deeply needed for these times that we're in. It's
Yes.
rooted in intuition, it's rooted in compassion and empathy and community care and and family and the village and the ecosystem. And so that second whisper is what has, again, it's like looking back, you're like, oh, this is what I've been doing all along. I just didn't have a word for it because I didn't have a word for it.
Yeah,
No one else is doing this. And that's how I got where I am today
I love
in
it.
leading this movement of matriarchal leaders, of supporting women in repatterning systems inside of their body that are keeping them in an old paradigm, like you said, in an old paradigm, which we can maybe go into what that looks like,
Mm,
and creating not just lives that are deeply nourishing, but businesses that are rippling out and changing the world for
mm.
good.
Yes. Yeah, you were speaking my language, Emily. Okay, but I do want to touch on a little bit because we all know that when you choose a different way, when you choose an iconic path, right, it's not always a smooth transition or a smooth journey.
Yeah.
Have some obstacles been that have tested you and like you staying on your path and um, maybe like how did you decide to move through them? And what strengths or lessons did you learn from those challenging moments?
Yeah. I'm so glad you bring this forward. I just did an Instagram live today where I talked about leadership, belonging, and safety.
Mm,
And I think that is probably the most present one of late, and it's also what's most present for my clients is when you choose, to your words, an iconic path, when you choose to step into your leadership, when you choose to be visible in a big way, that means that you are stepping out from the crowd. You are putting yourself in a position that like maybe ancestrally or historically back when we lived in totally in nature and in tribes, like maybe that would be unsafe in many ways.
mm,
And that I think for me has been one of the mm, I'm like there's so many challenge points along the way, but that definitely feels like such a big one in in saying like this is my path, this is what I believe in, this is my truth, this is what I know I'm here to lead, and you have to bet on yourself again and again and again and again. What I tell my clients and what I wish more people would know is like one, how much money I've put down before anybody has put a penny on me.
yeah,
I'm going to calculate it. Also, this sun, I feel like I keep getting in the,
chasing you.
it's literally chasing me. I'm iconic.
There we go.
um, that's like a due post of like, do you want to know how much money I've spent on the dream before anybody invested in me? Because people have the like transformation process or the leadership process, or how I also call it the rebirth process backwards. They're like, oh, somebody's going to recognize me and then I'm going to be famous or then my
Mm,
business is going to blow up. That's literally not how it happens. Nobody
mm-mm.
is going to see in you if you don't see it in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't bet on yourself, if you don't invest in yourself. And
Yes.
so I think that's just, I could name like 10 different times where I'm like, oh yeah, I believe in this. I'm going to put this thing out there, or I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to take this step. I'm going to birth this thing. Uh, and just being able to stay with that. And that's where the nervous system tools, the somatic tools really come in, because there will be, whenever you are pushing an edge, whether it's a personal growth edge or a professional edge, like visibility,
Hmm.
a next level of visibility, a next level of power, a next level of influence or authority, a next level of art, right? If you're like really living the iconic life and you're like showing, I mean, I'm out here wearing a fur coat for you
And
on
fabulous feather
lingerie,
earrings, and I love
on
it.
lingerie. But like when you're going to do that, there's going to be uh, a part of your system that's like, no, 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 go
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Go back. This is not safe. You're at the edge of the forest. This is not safe. But that actually we can retrain our system to see that as the green light of like, oh, the resistance is here. Hello, resistance.
Yeah.
Hello, comfort zone.
Changing our
Hello, growth
perspective on
edge.
that. Yes. The growth
And
edge.
there's a lot of folks that will tell you just to blow past it of like the resistance is the green light. And that's not what I'm going to say. Like, I'm going to say, talk to the resistance because it might be an inner child part that like really needs you to hear something. Otherwise, they're going to put their foot down and sabotage everything or stop everything. We don't want to use that term sabotage, but right, we're going to engage with the resistance so that we can, like in birth, just stretch you a little bit at a
Yeah.
time until the next level of reality is born.
Here. Yep. Ooh,
Yeah.
yes. Gave me chills. That's exactly it. I talk so often about the birth process and, well, pregnancies, but labor and birth process because it's such an analogy of like what I've seen in business, what I've walked through myself, right? Like I've seen myself like, ooh, like walking through this process and it feels like a labor and a birth process, right? Where you have to like
100%.
trust the unknown, trust the unseen, find the person to walk you through it, to midwife you through it, and to trust their voice, right? As you're like, it's a whole thing and it's such a beautiful thing, but it's like it has allowed me to be able to like put a lot of trust in this process because switching from, my career to a business, it's a stretchy thing, right? But it's also like it's the thing that I know that it must be born. It cannot stay in me anymore, right? That, it's that passion. So like that it's a non-negotiable. I must do the thing, but also to be able to trust the process of it being birthed, right? And it's just such a beautiful an analogy. Like it's like, ooh, all the midwifey stuff comes right over into life and
It
business, and I love it.
it totally does. I'm not a midwife or a doula by trade, but I also use that metaphor of birthing offers, birthing businesses, birthing programs, and that is the matriarchal model. That is the feminine leadership model, is that we look at our businesses, our creations, not just from a mechanical sense, because that's more, I would say, the patriarchal model or even the industrial model of, okay, this is the business plan and now we're going to execute and it's going to go on this timeline and you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
we're going to achieve it.
Yeah.
We love masculine, we love systems, we love structures. They're supportive. We have to have both.
They're
But
needed.
for
Yes.
all of the women who step into my space, that doesn't work long term. Like, especially when we're talking about something creative, especially like I believe that our businesses and our offers have spirits of themselves, like our children. And so when we start to dance in this way of like, okay, I'm not structuring something or building something. I'm literally birthing something. It gives us a totally different perspective. It gives us a whole
Yeah.
set of language, like a whole other set of language to talk about what we are experiencing as the person birthing and how to have more success.
Yep. I agree. I love it. All right. So again, let's iconic living. I love this. And I think you embody the iconic life. I love how you just like I from the very first time that we met in person, like I remember because we had that throne and we were taking pictures on it, right? Out
Oh,
on the land at Kate's. And I remember you just like did this pose. I was like, oh my gosh, she is so beautiful. And like just totally embodied that whole like queen energy. I was like, aha, okay. So since the very first time that I met you, that's always been my thought of you. But kind of take us into what does that look like on your day to day? Like what do you not just on the highlight reels of the big things that you're doing, but the small things every day. What kind of choices, rituals, maybe, or values keep you anchored and focused on your iconic life that you are creating?
yeah. Well, I will say this is going to be a little bit of a detour from your question, but it
Okay,
feels like
let's go.
something fun to bring in. So if you come follow me on any of the platforms, you're going to see a lot of like Empress, Queen, Matriarch. You're going to see a lot of that energy. And I have to tell you, Hannah, for 7, 8 years, I had a lot of resistance to this iconography,
Mm,
to this archetype. I am not the first feminine business coach to lean into the queen energy, right? Like, and I had a lot of fucking resist. Oh, can I curse? Okay. I had, we'll
this is
edit
real
it.
life, my friend.
I
This is
had a lot of, I don't even curse that much in real life, but for some reason on podcasts, I feel like I need to, or when I start to talk about something I'm passionate about, I I had a lot of resistance to that character. And it was because of all of the preconceived ideas that I had
mm,
about
hmm.
power, a
Yeah.
woman in power, wealth, legacy, sitting on a throne, having like beautiful things. Like
Mm,
I had to go through a ton of reprogramming, of moving the beliefs in my body to get into a place where I sat on that chair and like, I'm like, yes, I love the queen. I love the empress. And I'm here to lead as her because it is iconic, because she does evoke something in people more than if Emily showed up as her like normal self, right?
yeah.
As Emily showed up as her normal self in like her Christy Dawn dress and like her hair kind of in a messy bun, like still beautiful. We love that Emily, but she doesn't evoke as much of a response in
Yeah.
people. And that's what we want our businesses, our marketing to do, especially if we want to lead a movement, if we want to impact the world in a bigger way. And so, yeah, like I think to answer your question of like what does my iconic life look like, my iconic life is a dance between the characters that live inside of me. There's really two, there's characters that live inside of all of us, right? Like we have, you maybe you've heard of like inner child characters or shadow characters. We have all different, we have a whole host of people that live inside of us, but a lot of us have a couple key leadership characters. Those are the people that come out when you're in power, for better or for worse.
Hmm.
And once we learn to engage with them, this is something that we do inside of my training. Once we learn to engage with them, where we give them healthy coping strategies instead of like unhealthy ones, where we repattern our beliefs around what it means to hold that energy or that character, we can have a lot of fun. We can make art. And so the two characters that are really prevalent for me are the queen or the empress and the feminine ruler and the mother.
Mm,
So on any given day, you will see, I also have like very strong seer, oracle, mystic energy. She used to come more forward in my business and she sits a little bit on the back. She's still there, but she's not like the front character that's on the front of my business these days. So you will see me playing on the floor with my kids. You will see me lighting a candle and sitting in prayer, in devotion, in meditation every single morning, even if that's flippin' messy because I have a 3.5-year-old and a 6-month old and a partner who for the life of him does not want to wake up in the morning. So like I'm doing this beautiful ritual practice, journaling, somatic movement, prayer, also with my kids who's like, Mom, I pooped, or like, I need to go to the bathroom. I need,
I have
that's just
totally
really,
meditated with little ones crawling all over me because I'm just like, what? We're doing it.
you
Yeah.
know. So in some ways, like that is iconic. In some ways, that is so iconic of we get to weave magic, mystery, witchiness, feminine power, and motherhood.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and I also run a company and host retreats, host events, in-person immersions, run big programs, um, planning a big gathering for, I don't know if I've told you this about this, but a
No.
big festival for the spring.
Ooh.
And in that role, especially when I'm more public facing, that's when more of the like queen comes out.
Yeah.
And it's been
Yeah.
really fun to play. It's been really fun to play. I think that to me of iconic life, especially when we bring it into business, is to have these different characters, these different archetypes that we get to play with,
Yeah.
versus I am just one archetype all the time. Because
Yeah.
especially as women, we are multifaceted. And
So
I
much.
am like a quadruple Pisces, so I like to be different things, different, different. I like to be different things. So yeah, let's play a little dress up. Let's like put on some lipstick or like, I don't know, get our nails done. And then let's talk soulful business strategy, get
Mm.
into the roots of like the belief systems or the operating patterns that are holding us back, keeping us small. And let's do it all together in sisterhood and community and just not just pave a new way, but literally embody a new way. And
Mm.
something, um, I have brought my 6-month-old daughter to a number of events the last 6 months, and you have done the same. You definitely are such an inspiration in that, like probably seeing you do it opened up the pathway for me of like, oh, I can do it too. And I've had women come up to me and say,
Similar.
wow, your
Mm.
presence here with your daughter did something for me. To
Wow.
me,
Yeah.
what else is an iconic life than a life that you don't even have to speak words and you impact someone?
Yeah.
And so that's also at the root of what I do. Yes, I help women get their medicine out into the world in a big way. We make it fun, we make it edgy, and it's about medicine work, companies that are so deeply rooted in your values and fully integrated in your body that you don't have to go have a viral reel on social media to change someone's life.
Yeah. You're creating ripples just with your presence and who you are. Yeah. Ooh, I love it. Ooh, okay. So you actually listed off a bunch of like cool things that are like you have your festival and things coming, which I didn't know about that, but how exciting. Um, how do you see your next level, your calling evolving in this season, this next season of time for you?
This is such a good question. My next level is really sitting in this seat of business owner, which and maybe more than business owner, like CEO.
Mm,
That may sound silly for folks listening, but Hannah's like, no, I know what you're going to say with this, of course. But like I said, I started my business. It was very much about me. I want to help people. I want to be positive change in the world, but it's really just for me. And then when I became a mom 3.5 years ago, really when I started to come back to work like 3 years ago after that, it shifted. And I was like, okay, I want this to be bigger. And
mm,
what that has required is me to let go of. I literally used to say this. I don't want a big business. I just want
mm,
like a nice little business. I don't want a big following. I just want a nice little business that takes care of me and my family, that allows me to live the life that I love.
hmm
I
hmm
have that. I had that. I did that. And so
Yeah.
my next level is like, yeah, I want a fucking big business.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
love it.
want the big business. I want the visibility. I want, because I've also spent the last decade putting together these tools and these systems and these new, like, I have the places where I can put people. I have the infrastructure of a big business. So let's go. And that requires me to wrestle with those parts of myself, right? Like the mother who sometimes thinks about, oh, I should just be a stay-at-home mom. I could just homeschool my kids. Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
to wrestle with those parts of myself, to listen to those parts of myself, and to make peace and find a way forward that are still like, you don't want a big business. Because the truth is that I do, because
Yeah.
I not for me, right? Yes, of course there's a part for me, but also because I see the power in what I have inside, and it feels not right to
Yeah.
keep
There's a
to
bigger
keep it.
impact that you're called to be doing, to affecting. Yeah. I used to, when before I made that switch, because there was, like you said, there was something inside me that always knew this, but I kept it quiet, right? Because I was told you could be um, only so big because you're a mom or whatever. And for me, that was about being a mom, right? Like, and I was a solo mom for a long time, so I kept a
Uh,
lot of things on a burner, right? And then I remember my husband asked me, so this is before I really got into this in a bigger way, but he asked me a couple years back saying, well, what is it that you want to do? What do you want to create? And I was like, do you want like a big business or you want like more like a mom and pop kind of thing? And I was like, oh, just a mom and pop kind of thing. That was my answer. And I remember even when I said it, like it sticks in my head because I felt this like hit inside of me. I was like, what are you saying? But I was
no,
like, well,
that's not
but
true.
I can't do bigger than that because I have 7 kids. And I work and all the things, right? I'm a midwife, like all the things. I can't have a big company because that's not my place. I'm the wife, I'm the mom, and went through a whole journey, which whew, a whole breakdown of all the things of my belief systems of like I couldn't do these things, and walked me through a whole path of like, okay, now here I removed all the things that you said kept you from doing what you were called to do. So what are you going to do now? What is it you actually truly want? And I had to come to face with that, which was like, oh no, I know I'm here for a bigger impact and I want that. And I'm going to
Mhm.
claim it, right?
Uh,
But there was a lot of
yes, that
power in making
claiming.
that.
There's a big power in claiming,
Hmm.
in saying, not can I have it? Is it possible? Is now the right time? Like so many folks, and I want to speak especially to moms and especially to moms of littles, like I see you.
Mm,
It is not easy. It is not easy. And nobody's going to hand you permission. No one's going to hand you the plate. You have to decide. You have
yeah,
to say, yes, I'm crazy. I believe in myself.
yeah.
Yes, I want this. I'm worth investing in.
Oof. Literally, that was the answers that I had to come to, right? But when I did, when I made that decision, that was it. And that was the shift. And I think I love that this is what you're doing, this is what you're leading women in, because this is the work, I think, because there is so much power that we have as women that I think we have shut down for so long because we believed the untruth of like we can it's either or. We can only do one or the other. Like, I mean, I definitely was told that my entire life, right? And so like, oh my goodness, it's like it's okay. Like this is the new way. This is the new paradigm. And we can, in fact, bring change to the world when we are all doing our part. And I'm
Yeah,
here for it.
and the other thing that I'll say with that is we were told it was either or. And some of us were told, because this is what I was told, I could do both, but I was not given the model of leadership, the tools, the way to be, the way to structure a company,
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
way to structure my life that would allow me to have both without burning out. And to
Right. I was gonna
also have
say to
space. Let's
hold it.
also, because it's not just about business and babies. Like, what about me? What about Emily, the woman? What about
Yep.
my partnership? What about my friendships? And so that is where we need these tools of matriarchal leadership,
Mm.
because it's not the lone wolf way. It's not the man's way. It's not the way that we've been taught. It's not the way that we've seen leaders rise. It is in collaboration. It is in community. It is in sisterhood. It is in relationship. And when we get to work in like that, it's incredible. I think a really
Yeah.
potent, like an example to really ground this in, people can say what they want about MLMs. People can say what they want about network marketing, but there's a reason that network marketing is so successful for
Uh-huh.
moms
Yes. I'm a,
because it is
yes,
relational marketing. It is
100%.
like take this product that you love and go tell 10 friends about it.
Right.
You do that anyways and get paid for it. Awesome.
Exactly. Right. Oh
And
my gosh, I so agree with you on that.
yeah, so we just need and so that's one of the things that we're teaching inside of the Mother Mind Leadership Training is a new way of network marketing, not literal go join an MLM. That's not what I'm talking about, but how to leverage your network,
Yeah.
how to be a part of a network, because most folks were just taught do your schoolwork, be a nice girl, be a good girl, um, play sports, maybe, we
Yeah.
were taught certain things, but we weren't really taught, and we definitely aren't taught in the business sense of like how to be human in it, how to be in relationship, how to collaborate. And when we collaborate, and mothers know this, right? Village moms know, we know this in our bones that we
Hmm.
can't do it alone, especially when we have small babies, but we can be so well supported and well held and show up for our sacred work, whether that's mothering or mothering and a business, when we have a village around us.
Yep. That's it.
That's
Okay.
where we're going.
That's where we're
The
going.
village life, but like in a business. And the other thing, I was on a podcast the other day and we were talking about the village because I think this is a really popular concept of like bring back the village. And I love that too. And the truth is a lot of us use the fantasy of the village as like a it's like a fantasy of like, oh, when I have the village, then da 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 da, or when I move to the land and then I da 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 da
Mm.
da da, or when I have the mom, it's like same thing. Like you have to choose, you have to decide. And we are most of us, some of us, we think about this every once in a while, but I also like being in the modern world. Some people will go off the grid and like actually live commune, full
Yeah.
village.
Yeah.
Most of us will not. My guess is if you're listening to this podcast, you're not going to do that. You may find local community, you may live on the land, you may bring those things in, but we have to bring these tools of village, of sisterhood, of sister circles, and have them meet us in the modern
Modern
world.
life. Yes. Yes. We
And
need
we
that
have to,
here.
we we need that, and we need to stop putting it as some like when I done 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 when the baby's older, when we find the house, when we find the land, when
Mm.
this. No, now is the time.
Yeah.
Now is the place.
I love it.
Mm.
This has been a powerful conversation, Emily. All right. So as we're starting to wrap up here, I want to ask you for the woman or man, but who is listening today, who is feeling what you're saying, who's resonating with what they're hearing, but they're still in that where they haven't taken that full step into um, creating that iconic life of their own, right? What is something, a truth that you would maybe want them to know, or like a small step that you would challenge them to take?
Yeah. So this is for the person who feels a bigger calling, feels a bigger pull, but is kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I can want that. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I have time for that.
Hmm.
What I would invite you to do is to meet the edge. So feel like instead of da, 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 let me put my fingers in the ears, I can't do that, or like going into fantasy of like someday of like see where the edge is. What is the edge for you?
Hmm.
Can I do that? What can I do? And shift from this realm of that isn't possible, I can't do that, I don't know that. Shift from that into what is possible. what might happen. I have a podcast episode. This is just coming up. I have a podcast episode very early on in my podcast. Can't wait to have you on soon. My podcast is called Birthing the New, by the way.
Mm. Yep, yep.
And I think it's like episode 2. It's like one of our first episodes where I reframe this question of I don't know. So often the I don't know is what stops us.
Hmm.
And the reframe that I offer, that I want to offer for anyone here, which is also a way to like walk your edge, is instead of thinking, I don't know how that business is going to work. I don't know how childcare is going to work out for this. I don't know if that offer is going to be successful. Instead of asking or saying, I don't know, you say, I don't know how.
Hmm.
I don't know how childcare is going to work out. Okay, that opens up so much. That puts me in the place of curiosity, of possibility, of like, I don't know how, but I'm open to dancing with it. I'm open to
Yeah.
exploring it. And that is just such a mantra for how I live my life. And I think it's really important, one, for leaders, two, for mothers. I mean, how many times in motherhood have you been like, kind of stumped here. Don't know how it's going to work out, but like something's going to happen. Don't know how we're going to get out the door. Don't know how, you know, that's so simple. But instead of letting that stop you, just let it be a place to open up possibility, curiosity,
Hmm.
and let yourself lead from that place.
Yeah. Open yourself up to new things and being curious. Yeah, a whole new
And
worlds open up.
walking that edge of the unknown. That's
Yeah.
what's on the other side of the I don't know or the I don't know how is the unknown. And the
Mm.
unknown feels scary. That's why we stay in our safe place, even if it is uncomfortable, even if we hate certain
Mhm.
parts of it, even if we are struggling. But when you start to dance with the edge, when you start to make friends with the unknown, that is where magic happens. That is where quantum leaps happen. That's where you're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, my eating disorder of 15 years just disappeared.
Mm.
I don't know why that example came up, but like, oh my gosh, I met the man of my dreams overnight. Oh my gosh, 100,000 people
So many
found my
things.
reel and they
Yeah.
found this podcast and they found my work. Like when we start to dance, or I found a solution to the thing that I thought was so stuck and so problematic.
Mm.
The unknown is where magic happens.
Yep. Whew. All right. So I know we mentioned a little bit, but your podcast, but where can people find you online, Emily?
Yes, yes. Please come find me on my podcast, Birthing the New with Emily Nachazel. We will absolutely have Hannah on soon to share her magic, her medicine, her like flippin' powerful story. So you can find me there, Birthing the New, on all streaming platforms. I am most active on Instagram at Emily Nachazel. I'm sure Hannah will link that. My last
Yes.
name is a fun one. And you can also find my current offerings in my bio there or on my website, emilynahazel.com.
Beautiful. All right. And then as we're wrapping up, I have a few just fun questions I like to ask everybody. Okay. So,
Like fire.
w- yeah, favorite drink or food? And I know you're a foodie, so like
Oh my gosh. Do I
maybe
have to
current
pick
current
one?
favorite food or drink.
Okay, I love lime seltzer.
Ooh, that
I've
sounds
been
refreshing.
really into a lime seltzer, also really into like a loose leaf tea, like a Nora tea,
Hmm.
herbal tea.
Yeah, I love those.
Favorite food right now? We just had some oysters this week. Huge like oyster fan,
I wonder
huge
if you were going to say that. I saw your little
ancestral
feeding your son.
foods.
Yeah.
My son had his first one. One of my pride. I'm very proud. My son has a very good appetite. He will eat
He
clams, mussels, raw oysters. Like,
he's so adventurous and I love
uh,
it. I love
I
it.
feel like I've done something right, even
Yeah.
though he so loves French fries and pizza. Um, so oysters, and I think we're also gonna have bone marrow tonight because
Ooh,
it's Sadie's half birthday. So we're having a little
a little special
celebratory
thing.
bone marrow.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. And then real quick, dream vacation spot on your bucket list, or maybe that you're planning on going to next.
It's so hard to just pick one.
I know.
Honestly, this is my dream vacation spot. It's our family home in southern Maine,
Maine. Yeah.
where I'm coming to you from, and I love it at every single season. And fall is like particularly
Mhm.
exquisite, just the colors. We're in the
Mhm.
woods, but we're also by the ocean. So I have a lot of places in the world I would like to go. Um, and also I'm really happy here.
I love it.
Mhm.
Emily, thank you so
Iconic,
much.
iconic. I am the dream.
You are. Yes, you are the dream. I love it, and I cannot wait to see you just continue to blossom magnificently. Like it's so amazing. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much.
for being here again today. It's been a beautiful, rich conversation. And
Yeah.
you guys, thank you for joining us today as well for this beautiful conversation between Emily and I. And you guys remember, every choice you make, it leaves a mark. So make them wisely. Your most iconic life is not out there waiting for you in the someday. It's the one you choose and create right now, every day. So keep choosing with intention, keep choosing truth, keep choosing joy. And if today's conversation stirred something inside of you, please share this episode with a friend, leave us a review, find us online. I love to get feedback from you guys and hear your breakthroughs, your aha moments, your favorite conversation pieces. But yeah, help us share this and spread this movement of women and men who are living, leading, and loving and creating iconic lives. And we'll see you back here next time.